to this computer.
This meeting is being recorded.
It sure is. Hi, y'all. We're playing The Between. This is April 11th, 2022, and our first session. So we've gone over our safety tools. We're well aware of all of them. And we've done a little bit of an overview of the rules and had folks make the characters. We're now fixing to introduce them. First time we get to see something of these characters. Keeping in mind, you don't tell your history. Yes, ma'am?
I have a question.
Yes.
So the way that the book was that we have to like dimmer or change the subject or switch to something else or, oh, look, a thing. Is a potential possibility like a very obvious Baron Munchausen type lie that's like exquisitely obvious that it's not true?
Absolutely. And in a way, I suppose you could just lie to someone to avoid telling them their, the truth of your history,
right,
if you want to.
But I mean like ridiculous lies.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't point to the truth.
I am functionally incapable of saying, I don't think Baron Munchausen is appropriate here.
We're going to start. I guess we'll just start and go character keeper order. Patrick, introduce yourself, tell us about your character.
Dang it. Chose the first one alphabetically. All right. So I'm Patrick, he, him pronouns, and I am playing the American playbook. And the American is Travis Dust Devil Navarro. Real name, don't worry about it. Definitely won't come up later.
Real name, totally irrelevant.
Yeah, don't even, why would you say real name? Who even brought that up? So for my look, I went with handlebar mustache, frayed duster in black, because obviously, and crocodile boots with lapis details. So just very, like, highly polished, keeps them gleaming whenever possible, but have these, like, polished stone inlays, lots of metal, like silver flashy bits on it too. Very proud of his shoes. I have a picture there. Imagine more mustache and less fangs most of the time.
Wonderful. Your vice?
My vice is the opium dens.
Ooh.
Yes,
a little taste of the poppy.
Masks. I'm going to talk about those. I do have my starting move is the quickening. Which is that every dusk phase I have to roll and see whether I might be showing more of my monster than I normally would, and whether I have control over it or whether things spiral out of control. And there is the possibility that eventually one dusk phase my character could just go crazy and run off and become a threat in the night.
Keeping in mind, and it's worth noting, because of agency in the game, we have the Janus masks there. You potentially don't ever have to do that because you can Janus mask.
Yes. The move itself, I think I can fail it twice. And on the second time is when my character goes off and doesn't come back. But yeah, every time I would fail it, I could choose to Janus mask to get myself out of it. But that's sort of my ticking clock. I also chose the disguise kit move so that anytime I go rifling through my trunk of clothes, I can come out with a new disguise, and up to 5 times I can then add that disguise to my personal quarters. There's lots of stuff about the American adding things to their personal quarters. I have lots of stuff.
Ooh.
And to be sure I understand correctly, things in your personal quarters, they are always there, but they can only provide advantage once.
Correct. Once it's listed in your personal quarters, which after we introduce our characters, we'll go around and like give each other stuff to put in your personal quarters.
Yeah, we'll come to that in just a minute.
But once it's in there, if you use it in a role, describe it in an action, you check the tick box next to it You roll with advantage for that. From then on, it's still in your quarters and could be used to color scenes or to talk about stuff, but you don't get the mechanical
Or to be
advantage.
fictional positioning. Like you could have say somebody has a gun. You could use the gun once for advantage, but from then on, you still got a gun.
And you can
and there are ways to uncheck
conceptually.
those.
Yeah, and you can use it conceptually, for a while before declaring, and this time it's advantage.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. It is a choice when you want to use it for that. All right.
It's going to bother me to be playing this style of it, Brindlewood style, and not have my infinite cat.
There's a move I can pick up where I get an infinite gun, basically. Get to add a gun to my personal quarters and never have to check it off.
All right. Well, so that sounds like we have Dust Devil Travis. Let's move on. Dan, introduce yourself and your character. Oh, I'm sorry. It's actually the factotum. Bobby, introduce yourself and your character.
Samuels, no first name known to anyone. In the employ of Dust Devil, Travis Navarro. How they linked up with one another and why Samuels has been willing to follow him not only all over the Wild West, but all the way across the pond to Victoria's England, is something that Samuels doesn't tend to talk about a whole lot, but I'm sure he will eventually.
Your look?
So he is a little bit older, or at least a little bit older in appearance. He has been weathered out there. He keeps his mustache neatly trimmed, but his hair start going gray in long shocks and held back in a ponytail. He's mostly handed off the Western duster kind of thing here in London for more suitable coats for the area. But he still always has the baggy, like he wears big baggy outer clothing that can cover a multitude of sins when necessary. He's not a big guy, but he looks stockier and broader and such because of the way he dresses.
Excellent. And your vice?
I don't feel I have any option other than the betting shops, which in this case runs from the betting through to more personal gambling, cards and dice and such.
Excellent. And your moves?
The factotum's basic move is that he's a longtime servant of one of the other hunters, in this case, the American. I am limited in that I can only request a scene with the American for purposes of triggering the vulnerable move, though others can request a scene with me at will. But anything I do to directly defend my employer is done with advantage.
That's nice.
However, I have no life of my own. I exist only to serve. And when Patrick finally screams at the moon and goes charging out onto the moors to hunt the Baskervilles for the rest of his days, I apparently will be going with him to make sure that his cravat stays properly tied out there on those godforsaken bluffs.
Ah. And your other move?
Memory is the servant. During the dawn phase, you may tell the keeper you are claiming a memento, which can be any object from a scene in the recently concluded night phase that you would have reasonably been able to acquire. If you keep it, add it to your personal quarters. If you give it to another hunter, mark XP and tell them to add it to their personal quarters.
Oh, that's a nice one and a good one to pick up early.
So I can distribute advantages.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
And
All
I'm hoping
right.
that this will also help quickly decorate Hargrave House with the mementos of our hunts.
That is super cool. All
Similarly,
right.
I think it'd be one thing I wanted to note to the rest of the group is that should anyone be sitting there during a night session or during a successful hunt or partial hunt, what have you, and think to themselves, this would look great stuffed and mounted somewhere in the halls. Just let me know.
Wonderful. All right. Then next up, Dan, introduce yourself and your character.
Hello, I'm Dan. My pronouns are he, him. I'm playing the mother, who is Yehuda Levy. Yehuda has looks like he hasn't acquired new clothes in a while. He has an unkempt beard. He looks a little bit like he's skipped a couple of meals, but he has piercing eyes. Rather than lean into the scientific side of medicine, he tends to collect folk cures instead. So a lot of sort of more occult remedies and things like that. As part of this, his vice is an obsession, and he is obsessed with the key to long life, to immortal life, to the fountain of youth. So whenever he is needs to engage in his vice, he's really doing research to find the fountain of youth. His main move is the child, so he's building a human, and is seeking out body parts and or other materials, depending on sort of what occult methods he's using for this. And he also engages in some night work, so he has at least some sense of service to the community, and so he makes house calls and sells folk remedies or gives folk remedies to folks. Apparently, I'm also supposed to be helping Scotland Yard examine corpses dragged from the river, and working on the child. So Scotland Yard may bring me in sort of, I guess, X-Files style, maybe
consulting.
In a consulting fashion. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, I love it. And that night works is an amazing move. That is such a good move. All right. And bringing up the rear, last but certainly not least, Danny, introduce yourself. Tell us about your character.
All right, so I'm Danny, she, her. I am playing Martina Revilla as the Legacy, and she is a Basque Spanish lady, young lady, and she has a beast that she's hunting down, and it's a legendary creature in Basque mythology. It's a dragon called Heron Suge. It has 7 heads, and the idea is that as you chop off the 7 heads, each of these 7 heads turns into a dragon in its own right. So there's interesting possibilities there as to how many of this beast there actually are.
Ooh.
Various formats. But it's a well, kind of a family curse sort of thing that her family's been dealing with it, and she's bringing up the rear and really desperately hoping that she can actually finish this off once and for all, so that she can finally go and have a life that isn't involved in hunting down and decimating mythical creatures.
And what does she look like?
She is young. She's got hair that she keeps pretty elaborately braided, and she is usually wearing dresses. And one of her quirks is that she likes to go barefoot. She has a sword that she keeps in a scabbard that she inherited. The sword is a family heirloom. And I'm still working on the name for that.
And what is your vice?
Vice is at the moment reading old tomes.
Ooh. So you indulge by getting into your readings, losing yourself in the tomes.
Correct.
Neat. And what are your moves?
Give me a second because that's back over here. Fueled by vengeance. And if I fight a creature that's the same type as the beast, which I guess would be dragon, I get a +1 to die rolls. And I have to ask other people how this makes them feel for me to be so relentless or dogged in pursuit of this kind of creature. So that kind of works to make interesting threshold kind of things. One of the interesting ones is Shrouded in Mystery. And if I discover a clue, I can mark a hunt, my own particular hunt, with a 0 to mark that that's being discovered as well. And then during the night phase, I can use the Lonely One, which gives me an additional clue during the Investigate move, which is nifty.
I think you need, I don't think you get all of them. I think you get.
No, I have to choose. Yeah, but
Yeah.
these are the different options. I
Oh, I
haven't
gotcha.
decided which ones yet.
Oh, cool.
The other one is, I wasn't sure if people had a chance to read the whole thing. The other one is Launch of Privilege. I can leverage my family's name. And then Soaked in Blood is the last option. If I'm gratuitously violent, I can remove conditions.
Ooh.
Still working on that one. I'm leaning towards Fueled by Vengeance, just because that's interesting to have creatures that are the same type. Dragons seem interesting. The other one that I thought was interesting was in Launch of Privilege, because it has a lot of nifty character building kind of stuff along with it.
Ooh, that is cool. And you have those first two as well to start with, don't you?
Yes.
Want to give
first ones are A Hunter's Life is Never Over is the combination of them, but the Hunter's Life is that physical combat is always vitality, and my hereditary weapon is the sword, like I said. So I can mark a box and describe about how the sword is particularly good for this, that, or the other because of whatever reasons.
Ooh, nice.
Which is nifty. And then that lets me up a die roll to a higher tier. The same way as if I'd used the Janus mask. But I have to narrate a flashback afterwards, talking about one of my ancestors actually using the weapon. So kind of balancing act to keep things hidden and use that.
That's nice.
And then the second one is once I filled out the beast threat sheet, which I will need some help because I was looking for it and I don't see one specifically for it. They just are general threats. So I'm not sure if I just decide one is the beast and fill it out. But once I've decided that, I have a beast threat sheet that's my own particular set of secrets.
So Danny, in the between folder,
yep,
the Google folder, there's the playbooks folder,
yep,
and then special playbooks and threats.
Gotcha.
The beast special threat.
Brilliant, awesome, got him.
And we will try to get a space for you set up on the character keeper where you can put that in.
Gotcha.
Between now and next time.
Gotcha. So, but that's
wonderful. All right. I think that's super cool. All right, then. So now we're going. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Just because it's right here and because it was something I was not clear on from reading the book.
Yep.
Everybody's got that gilded door bit that gives you the condition most beloved.
Yes.
And the main book was not entirely clear what that was, other than making you a target for some threats.
What? Only one person could be the beloved. Once somebody marks it, they are the beloved, and that means they are the chosen one that the mastermind has special interest in. The benefit for you is that you're getting an extra Janus mask on everyone else because they won't get to use it because you've now become the beloved. The disadvantage is that now you're the one that the mastermind has a whole thing for.
You're the Holmes to the Moriarty.
Yes. And
certain threats have notes on them like offer this question or put this problem to the most beloved.
Right. It is kind of a legacy thing of as we go through, that'll pop up. There's also some for other Janus masks when they're marked off, it'll give you options in a threat that cosmic passage. I see it pop up a lot for if people have it marked, they get to do some interesting things in threats and stuff like that. So it's just those things will play into how stuff goes along. But the beloved in particular is just one person getting a shot at a Janus mask, and in exchange, the mastermind has a thing for them. So just to check in, I believe everybody has, but everybody did add 1 extra point to your stats when you were picking them. Everybody, I believe, should be +3 total. So now we're going to go around one last time, and everybody's going to read off their little flavor text at the top of their playbook, which may mean bringing up the playbook. And then they'll ask for folks to assign them personal items.
Yeah,
So,
I can't be the most beloved. I can make Patrick the most beloved.
is that a special thing of you?
That's my gilded portal.
Ah,
Nice.
that's awesome.
That's funny.
So, after you read your color text, the rest of us are going to name one object or piece of equipment we think your hunter would have in their bedroom at Hargrave House, based on what we know about them so far. You can veto any idea you don't like or ask for a revision. You'll write down each item in your personal quarters section. So it means everybody's going to start with 3 because everybody gets to give them something they think they would like or need or have based on what type of character they are. So, Patrick, let's lead off with you. Read your flavor text and let's get you some personal items.
So, the American. You grew up in a big city on the eastern seaboard of the United States, the scion of a prominent family, but you detested that life. The formality, the pretension, the venomous hypocrisy, and so you went west. You had adventures, got good with a gun, even joined a traveling show for a time. But then came the curse, and everything changed. You did your best to control it, and some nights were definitely worse than others, but eventually it got to be too much. Even your days were affected by the changes within you. Your behavior became reckless and unpredictable, and then you had to run far away. In the end, it was London calling, a thick, throbbing mass of humanity within which to lose yourself, the whole world and all its lovely pleasures right within your grasp. But the curse has found you, like it always does. Hopefully these new folks, these hunters you've thrown in with, can help you for good, permanent-like, when the time comes.
Nice. All right. Bobby, what's a thing you believe that Travis has in his bedroom?
I think that Travis has it's a mirror or maybe a vanity sort of thing. Not a lady's vanity, but the like full length
Dressing mirror.
a framed mirror for dressing himself. That's one of the only things he collected and brought with him back from the family house in the Americas when he came here.
Nice. Patrick, you like that one?
I like that. Probably since it, had to travel, come overseas, it's probably like a 2 foot or so, but very nice, ornate, sort of movable frame there.
And pivot to look up and down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it plays against the living out of the saddle kind of role that he had.
Gotcha. All right. Dan, what are you giving to Werewolf Teddy Roosevelt?
I think you've got a ticket back home for a ship back home.
Oh, like good for any time sort of
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
but only one?
Only one.
Oh. All right. You like that, Patrick?
Yes, I like that.
All right. Danny?
I like the thought of him being in that like traveling show, and so I'm leaning towards a couple of sets of marked cards, playing cards
Cool.
that could be trick cards or could be more subtly marked, that could be used to either cheat or make the cards do tricks.
Oh, I like that a
depending on
lot.
how you use them.
I have sudden
Nice.
dark suspicions about how he got me to serve him for the rest of my life.
With your advice, yeah.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. No importance here.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much. Bobby, read off your flavor text and we'll give you some things. You're muted, my love.
Again,
No, I'm not. I clicked the button. You had a life before you entered the service of your employer, but the details of that life are unimportant. All that matters now is the person you serve, and Hargrave House, where you will grow ancient and die, if you're lucky. More likely, your employer's colleagues, the hunters, will be the end of you, overturning things that should remain hidden and goading on terrors that dwell in dark places. You'll do your best to help them, of course, to keep them alive, because without them, what are you, really?
I love it. Well, Patrick, what do you think is in Samuel's room there at Hargrave?
I think, obviously, you dress how you dress and what your livery for service is, but I think you have like a high-end formal uniform that's perfectly maintained and pressed, and you almost never get to wear because it would be like what you would wear if we were actually having like formal receiving or you were serving me at an event or something.
Gotcha. What you think, Bobby?
Works for me.
Excellent. So write that into your things you have. Dan, what does Samuel's have back in his servant room?
Well, my first thought was a photograph of a man that's it. It's not framed.
Older or younger?
I'm gonna say hard to determine, but maybe around the same age.
Okay. What you think, Bobby?
Interesting. Lots of questions raised there.
A lot of hooks for that. Very, very nice.
Obviously, it's faded or maybe water damaged around the edges and such.
Nice. And Danny in his little butler's pantry, what is there that Samuel's has?
I think he has a very nice engraved pocket watch with a set of initials on it, neither of which are an S.
Very good, Bobby. Like that one.
Say that again after initials.
Neither of the initials are an S, or the letter S.
Nice. I love that. Very good, Danny. All right. Dan, read us your flavor text.
Few understand the mysteries of human anatomy like I do. I am one of the most brilliant medical minds in London and could take my place as a lecturer at any number of esteemed academies. But I have different ideas, different plans. I am no longer interested in merely preserving life, but creating it. And so I'll do what I must to survive, tending to the prostitutes dying of consumption, assisting Scotland Yard with grisly forensic inquiry, and creeping about in the dark with these new people, these hunters with whom I share a home. But always I am focused on the new life growing in my secret womb, my child, the one I hope will capture even the faintest reflection of the person I loved and lost.
Ooh. Well, Danny, what do we think we find in let's see. People haven't put their names in on their things on their video. I'm sorry.
Yiddish. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yehuda?
Yep.
Yehuda Levy. In Yehuda's room there.
I think that there's some sort of a medical kit that has a private or secret compartment inside of it. And that private or secret compartment is containing a body part or pieces of a body of someone.
Gross and perfect.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Bobby, what do you see in Dr. Levy or Mr. Is it Mr. Levy or Doctor?
Let's say Mr.
Mr. All right.
Well, my plan for a book or candelabra or something that you pull on to open up the secret room that his lab is where he's constructing the body has been preempted. So I think that he has a little shrine. Whether it is a item of memory to whatever he has lost or a small little religious spot is up to Dan, but the little shrine tucked in the corner that is where he goes when he needs to secure himself.
Oh. What you think, Dan?
I like that.
Religious or to what you've lost?
Yeah. What you think?
I'm leaning towards what I lost.
Wonderful.
As a way of kind of the last threads of what might be grounding me. So.
Then I'll ask for more details maybe when it comes into play, or if we have a scene where someone's in your room and maybe notices it. But for now, we'll leave that sort of vague. I think that's a good idea. And Patrick, Mr. Levy has a room. He has things. Give a thing that's in his rooms.
Yeah. I think there's a map of the world up on the wall. And it has pins in it that don't necessarily correspond to important cities or notable places. And it has lines drawn on it that don't mark any known tide or wind.
Ooh, like that, Dan?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Patrick.
Wonderful. And Danny, let's hear your flavor text.
Alrighty. Hargrave House is filled with monster hunters, but I'm the only one who was born to it. My parents and their parents and their parents before them have known one thing. We revel in the destruction of ungodly beasts and carnivorous terrors. My family name has been whispered in secret meetings for generations, passed along to those in need of my hereditary talents. I was taught how to hold a blade when I was a child, and I completed my first hunt not many years after. I have knowledge of combat and trapping that is unparalleled, but I've grown disillusioned with my heritage. I want to be more than just another entry in a long ledger of death. I want out, but I have one last score to settle. A curse of sorts, a beast that's haunted me and my family for as long as anyone can remember. Prepare to save my family's vow.
Ooh, beautiful. Dan, what do we have there in Miss Rivera's room?
I was going to go very literal and say you've got a picture of the beast, a rendering of the beast,
Okay.
but it's taped to the ceiling above your bed. Maybe not taped,
I like
but
that.
pinned.
Plastered.
Yes.
Like that, Danny?
Yeah, I do.
Beautiful.
Fresco.
Bobby, Martina has what in her room?
Walls are lined with the broken weapons favored by her various ancestors who have died hunting the beast.
So various types.
There's a blunderbuss there that's like the bell ripped open in shreds back from its opening. There's a great sword that's been literally bent. Just all sorts of, she's got her weapon that's been handed down, but it is hardly the only blade that her family has ever wielded in this hunt. But the ones lining the walls are the broken weapons of those who went up against the beast and failed.
Nice.
Shrine. Who sucked.
I could see where that could come in though for an advantage somewhere, digging something, patching something together as needed. What do you think, Danny? You like that?
I do, yeah. Nice, a nice little shrine to past disillusionment.
Patrick.
And I think again, in a similar sort of impulse led me to this as Bobby's. But I think there is a glass display case on the wall that has a full finest china porcelain tea service in it. Obviously, if you look at it, hundreds of years old. And while it is beautiful and gleaming and perfect in its case, if you look up close, every single piece has been cracked, chipped, or outright smashed and carefully, painstakingly put back together to where you can just only see the faintest of lines going through them.
Is it usable, or is this like they'll fall back apart if you pick them up?
It's usable. They have been aggressively returned to their proper, fully fancy state, and we're just ignoring the fine lines and things in them.
Ooh, like that, Danny?
Yeah, I like the idea that they're usable, that's actually a thing that's functional still.
No metaphor is present whatsoever.
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Oh, that is so good. All right. So we have now given you 3 things. Keep in mind that these things, you can pull them out. Theoretically, you can, in the moment, say, oh, I did, and we could flash back to where you grabbed something. I'll ask you, like off that broken weapons wall, you found the silver bullet that was still stuck in something or whatever. In the moment, you can say, I got it. I'll have you do a little flashback of looking for it. It would give you an advantage on a roll, which is 3D, take the 2 highest. Once it's used, you will mark it. There are things that can unmark stuff, but otherwise, it is still there as fictional placement. It can still be used as whatever it is. You can, be able to fictional placement is an important thing of, you know, having a tool is nice, even if you don't get the mechanical advantage from it. So that is our characters set up. And surprisingly, for the timeline they said, I'm not too far off of what we're supposed to be for first session. Why don't we take about 6-7 minutes to run to the restroom, grab a drink or whatever, and we will come back and get started.
This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you. So we got these characters ready, which is pretty darn awesome. And now we're going to start with a couple of things I'm going to tell you. One, we will have threats. Threats will be the stuff that is on the table that you are supposed to be monster hunting or finding out about. If you ignore them, they will keep coming after stuff. They will keep doing things and will become more powerful, or will kill people, or may even decide they don't like you. You will want to try to stop them. Every session, and I'm not going to do it at this one since we're, just this is first one. But at the end of next session, or actually it's when we hit another dusk phase set, I will introduce another threat. And in the next one, I'll introduce another threat. We can have up to 3 threats running, meaning that if you don't start knocking them off early, you can have them build up on you. There are some, like the beast or like the orphan, that can pop up as well. They don't count against those 3. So potentially with our group, we can have 5 threats going. We would want to try to solve threats in a timely manner. You will always know the threats. You the player, I'm not gonna hide them from you. I will tell you what they are. I will give you some information about them. I will tell you the questions that are there to help you solve them. It is then for you to go about and discover the clues and work out the information and all the things to resolve this. I don't know how it's resolved. We will find out by how we collect these clues, and then once we've done the adventuring, got at least half the clues for the target number of what we're looking for, then we will come together and we will discuss what we think has happened, what we think can do to fight this threat, and we will make a roll. And if we succeed well at this roll, then you're going to have all the advantage you need to go in there and handle this threat. And if you roll poorly, you're going to have none of the advantages that you need to go in and take on this threat. And it's going to be hard, very hard. So that's the basic premise of the game. And so, and when we get to a planning session, our first one for coming up with what we use our clues for, I'll go over that whole process then. That is one of the more complicated bits, but even then, it's not that complicated. But we will face that once we get to it. We will not be getting to it tonight for certain. So I'm going to read a little bit to you to set up threat 1. Hargrave House is an old Gothic revival style building. It stands out from its neighbors on Belgrave Square, which are done in the more conventional classical style. Hargrave House is also different because it's not just a residence, but a place of work. Dark work. And some more of that dark work has just landed on your doorstep. So we are in Belgravia, in Belgrave Square. Super posh, rich folks live here. But our house is noticeably old. And probably a little creepy. The neighbors certainly don't think it's as lovely as their colonnaded white, beautiful homes.
So it's noticeably old in London.
In London, well, certainly for the neighborhood. which Belgravia is a fashionable neighborhood that has sprung up over the last 50 years or so.
Is it worn down or is it just old fashioned?
It is old fashioned and it has the wear of being an older building, but it is well maintained. We, as a point here, Hargrave House has been here since before you, any of you hunters here, and none of us know who set up Hargrave House, who our benefactor is, who it is that makes sure that there's always the gas burning. There's always someone comes to do the yard. Someone arranges for your food to show up down in the kitchens. No one knows. That includes me, and we never will. But some benefactor keeps Hargrave House up for its business. Now, our threat, the St. James Street Ghost. A back issue of the Illustrated Police News, a tabloid notorious for carrying salacious, blood-curdling tales of dubious provenance, has a story about a young maid, Jenny Hess, who was found dead, apparently from shock, in her employer's St. James Street townhouse some months ago. The story claims the townhouse is haunted and that it was almost certainly the appearance of a ghost that caused the young maid to die of fright. After a cursory inquiry, you have learned the precise address of the haunting, number 18, St. James Street, and the name of the family that lives there, the Beales, Beales. I'm going to go with you, Danny. Most tales of hauntings are complete nonsense, especially those carried by the Illustrated Police News. But Hargrave House has some experience with ghosts, and a particular detail in this story confirms that this is a legitimate haunting. What is it that Martina has gleaned from this story that immediately makes her go, this is real?
The young lady that died, her eyes were clouded over.
Ooh. So we have that little detail in the report. You are going to have in this mission,
maybe a photo that
possibly, or they might have discussed her as having roomy eyes or being obviously visually challenged. And Martina's like, well, that's crap, but
absolutely. So we have our questions and opportunities. This is how we solve the mystery. In ours, we have two in this one. The first one is, which part of the house is the ghost attached to? That is a complexity of 4 question, meaning that we need at least 2 clues to try and solve it. And if we did, we would be rolling at -2. If we got 4, we'd be rolling at even. And if we could get up to +3. +3 is the max roll. If you succeed at this one, you won't solve the mystery, but it will give you access to a custom move called Old Bones. If you have Old Bones, when you have the Cosmic Passage marked, which is one of your Janus masks, you can touch, listen to, or otherwise attune to a building's architectural details. Roll with sensitivity. On a hit, a ghost will appear and answer a single question you pose to it or perform a small task, your choice. Any answers it gives will be in the form of a clue at the keeper's discretion. If you roll a 10 plus, the ghost will do that and not even ask for a favor in return. The nice thing about that is those old bones will stay with you even after we finish this mystery.
Is this we have that move, or we are now able to take that move with an advance?
You are able to take the old bones, I will say the item, and that would allow someone to use it as the move.
Basically, it becomes a new basic move. It's not something you have to
Right.
spend an advance on, or it's not limited to just one person.
Right.
It becomes one of the alternatives that we can do.
Right.
Mhm.
It's a nice little
Hmm.
reward on its own. But you don't have to do that. It will eat up clues, obviously, because to solve this problem, you have to, how can we get this ghost to pass on to the next world? And that's a complexity of 6. Meaning if you have 3 clues, you can roll at -3. If you have 6, you can roll even. And if you have 9, you can roll at +3. So how many of your clues are you going to be willing to sacrifice to get those really cool old bones? But if you, when you get that complexity 6, how do we get it to pass on to the next world? You may resolve the threat by performing a quieting ritual, which we will still have a dealing with it. It just puts you with a very good opportunity there. That's how you can solve it. And for our game's sake, you can only resolve a threat by using the thing you discover with a clue. Discovering the solution here. Anything else you do to this ghost, it's gonna get away, it's gonna come back. There's no way to solve it other than through our rule set. So, all right. We now understand a little of what we're doing here.
Is that something that the characters have an understanding of in sort of world terms? That they would understand that they have to do a particular ritual or something, or would they still be invested in trying to get rid of it by other means, despite the fact that we as players know that that's not going to work?
It's more the second. It's kind of as you're building up clues. Say you encountered it the first time around and you tried to throw holy water at it.
Gotcha.
Because that seems like a good idea. It won't work, but that may give you a clue to say, hey, holy water is not going to work. And eventually,
Gotcha.
as characters, we will come to the understanding we have to do this ritual.
Gotcha.
And all of us, the legacy especially, obviously, but all of us have been on a couple of these monster hunts before, so we're all at least aware of the concept of shooting it in the forehead rarely is the thing that takes it out. Like, just walking in the room and shooting it once is rarely the thing that solves the problem.
So, there is one other thing that comes with this, the Mask of Unquiet. It is a free mask that you can use instead of one of your Janus masks. But when it's used, one person gets to use it, but every hunter will narrate a flashback to their childhood when they experienced a haunting. So it's a way to get a piece of history out. It's a free Janus mask, but everybody has to do the bit of history. Only one person will get to have the advantage on a roll. Might be good when you're doing that ritual, but that's just me.
And all of this information is on the threats tab and the character keeper.
And the character keeper. Other than that, I'm going to have here with us, I have things about the ghost and what it could do. I won't be telling y'all that stuff. And there will be people and locations for us to go and look around in, and we will deal with that. And I will be handing out clues. There are rewards that we will get at the end of the adventure. And I have a cool list of things that y'all can choose from. And as I will remind us again, this is a different type of game. I've never run Brindlewood exactly before. I don't know what these clues all mean. I don't know how this whole thing pieces together. We're building that up together. So, all right. And with that, we're going to hop into play. We start in the dawn phase. So
for the first day here, we start in the day phase.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Do we?
The dawn phase is all stuff that we haven't qualified for yet.
Start with the day phase. You're absolutely correct. All right. And we'll try and get in at least a little bit of starty stuff. And, don't worry, we're probably not going to get all the way through the out of the day phase. We'll have some day phase to play with next time. But I would like for us to get a little chance to do stuff. So, Patrick, you've played Brindlewood and The Between before, so why don't we lead off with you? What scene would you like to set up?
Well, I'm the American, so I feel like I have to be introduced in a bar. That's fitting for the character.
Patrick, it is bad gaming to have the characters meet in the bar. It's tradition, but it's just not a good structure.
We're not meeting each other. We're meeting the audience here.
You're meeting the character.
So I'll take a volunteer for who have I talked into going out for an afternoon of drinking. Not even a particularly late afternoon of drinking.
Who's with old Dust Devil there?
I mean, I am the default, but it might be more interesting one of the other characters.
I don't know that you count as are you required to attend?
Dan, were you? Oh, you want to do it, Martina?
Drink with the interesting American.
All right. Patrick, what sort of bar are we in?
Upscale,
low scale?
No, I think it's very much a neighborhood pub sort of bar. Very worn, bar sort of made out of lots of different colors and ages of wood. Sort of patched back together look to things.
Okay. And Danny, what makes Martina realize that these people have seen Travis here before?
There's a poker game going on in the back, and at least two of the people either very carefully make eye contact or don't make eye contact as we walk by.
Nice. All right, somebody comes up and brings you your drinks.
Don't do things. And Travis has ordered a beer and a glass of whiskey for each of you. He's holding up the whiskey and looking like sort of through it, and in the catching a ray of sunlight coming through the window. He's saying, now this Irish stuff, it's not as dark as it should be. It really needs to have some more color to it, but this is the only bar I could find within walking distance that didn't serve that horrible Scotch crap. It's just, it's used for cleaning as far as I can tell. Slugs back half of the glass of whiskey.
So what color is it supposed to be?
Amber. Nice and dark. Not burned, but singed. Honey on a Saturday afternoon. That sort of thing.
Definitely not getting any honey.
No. This one's supposed to be about sunshine or luck of some leprechaun. I don't know the nonsense behind it.
Well, I suppose it does the trick regardless of leprechaun's luck.
That is the benefit. The more you go, and he'll slam back half of the beer as well, the better it all tastes.
Now that's truth.
Could do some bettering.
So, apparently that thing's gonna happen repeatedly, huh? Sort of nighttime things.
Yeah. The city stays busy in the evenings. It's, there's a lot of things that have their own interests, I guess.
And you seem to keep your head in a sticky situation. Where'd
do
you
my best.
learn that sort of calm and professionalism?
Well, when you get thrown off of a pirate ship when you're 3 years old and have to swim back to shore your own self, it's just something that you pick up. Thank you.
Natural to the water, I take.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm. And it definitely didn't have anything to do with albatrosses carrying a nest woven out of mermaid hair.
Oh no, that was when I was 6.
Oh, I see. That was when you were older. That must have been my mistake.
A slight scraping sound from the bar as Travis's whiskey glass is mysteriously full again.
The albatross is a powerful symbol, actually.
I haven't heard many good stories about it. Powerful?
Something doesn't have to be good or bad to be powerful.
Travis shot down the one that was flying over our boat on the way over, so I'm not sure about powerful.
But the damn thing was loud. I said I needed to sleep.
It's 3 in the afternoon, sir.
I explained the situation very clearly to the bird before things took that dire turn.
He did. At length.
I can imagine.
Everyone seemed very upset.
An otherwise pleasant trip.
Everyone seemed very upset afterwards, so it's apparently not the thing to do.
No, it's really not the done thing.
I've seen storms worse than that a dozen times. That thing was nothing.
What was it about the mast you were saying?
Is
assured that it's less important than it looks. So Travis tells me.
Of course.
I mean, how hard is it to cut down a new tree and just stick it on the boat?
They do seem to be in short supply in the middle of the ocean.
So, so you're confident that this was not simply a night terror that was too much for the girl's heart, Miss Martina?
I suppose you could describe it as the ultimate of night terrors, but no, I'm relatively confident that as much as the constabulary managed to muck things up with their usual efficiency, they have gotten the gist of it correctly this time.
I don't understand what the girl's eyes have to do with it.
I don't know the methodology myself, but it does seem to be something that's held true on multiple different occasions.
So we'll be needing an invitation then?
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised one of the officers hasn't popped by already.
If I hear correctly, they're practically running tours through the house since the girl wound up in the papers.
Make money while the sun shines.
I'll pop by after this, see what I can arrange.
don't know if they're taking reservations down at the murder site, but sure, see what you can find out.
You don't understand the lure of the agony sheets here, Travis. Slightest scandal in this city, and half the town descends on the site to ooh and awe and remind themselves what amazing folks they are, that this sort of thing never happens to them.
You know, I'm just a simple farm boy. I wouldn't know anything about that sort of thing.
It does help that this is a particularly interesting combination of salacious and innocent. So quite a few of the populace that otherwise wouldn't deign to show themselves at a site of such public interest can actually come by and gawk like the rest of them.
They travel almost half a day to attend that mass hanging back in Almaretta. 20 of them at once, you said, is the most they'd ever hung on a single gibbet in the whole state.
Can't help it if the newspaper lied. I saw it in the newspaper. That's supposed to be true.
And you needed to witness it in person because
Some things you only see once.
I think on that, I'm going to first ask Travis. You are the only one I think is likely to be, but are you indulging your vice at this point as well as drinking?
No, I don't think so. I think that's a further reveal, sort of open up with him.
Okay, then in that case, it doesn't look like anybody would have a vulnerability move option here. So I think unless there's something else we'd like to do in this bar, I might pull off this scene. Nice moment seeing y'all together. All right, we're going to pull off that scene. Where do we find Mr. Levy?
I think Yehuda went to a chemist's shop to resupply, and this chemist is known also to carry supplies in a special back room for more folk and occult remedies as well.
All right. Tell me, the proprietor of this apothecary, man or woman?
I think it is a woman. Maybe a Romani woman.
Ooh. All right. As you come in, she smiles and, Mr. Levi, how very nice to see you.
It's always nice to see you. I trust you have filled my the order that I placed last week.
She finishes with the person that she was dealing with, and as they walk out and close the door behind them, Mr. Levi, you always have such unusual requests.
I have unusual cases.
Well, I am more than happy to provide what you look for the right price, and you always seem to have the right price.
So did you get all of the tinctures that I ordered?
I did. Let me retrieve them. And she kind of moves to the back and through a curtain, and a few moments later comes out with a I think probably a like a cloth bag that inside of it you can see there are several boxes that she has put into it.
I have 100% basically grabbed it from her. I'm very eager and started rummaging through it and say, Yes. Excellent. And I'm very pleased with the results.
I assure you, you will find everything you asked for, and my price is quite reasonable. And she slides across a receipt, and you could see that she's not listed out the exact things that are there. But the price is substantial, but I'm guessing you aren't hard up for cash, generally speaking.
I travel in circles with plenty of money.
Mhm.
So I slide the piece of paper back and I say, just put it on my bill.
Oh, of course, Mr. Levy. I assume I will see payment at the end of the month.
As usual.
Very good. You have been staying at the Hargrave House, I have heard.
From who do you hear this?
Oh, I hear things on the street. The shop people come in, they say this, they say that. This, they said you were living in the Hargrave House. That was a surprise to me.
Why should it be a surprise?
Over the years, I've heard strange things about the people who live there.
It is true. There are some strange people who live there, but I have also been accused of being a little bit strange. And for now, the resources of the Hargrave House suit my needs and my goals.
Is it true that there is a society that looks into unusual things?
You could say that about just about any club in our fair city.
I've heard that Hargrave House, though, is particularly effective at dealing with these things.
We have our ways. Is there something in particular that you are concerned about?
I have a client who has been procuring sleeping draughts. She is not sleeping well. Her maid, she died the other week. Says that there was a ghost in their house.
A ghost, you say?
Yes, frightened the poor maid to death.
Surely that cannot be right.
I have seen many things, Mr. Levy. I do not doubt there are things, terrible things in the night.
That is something that you and I have in common. Do you have the address of this house? Perhaps I will go check it out.
Yes, number 18 St. James.
Is it possible that we've already gotten this address?
You would have heard about it. This is the same one in the newspapers.
Okay.
It would be, and just because we're moving into it, if you wish, you could try to pump her for information if you wanted, see if she knew anything.
Yes, let's do it.
All right.
She's already sort of revealed that someone was not sleeping well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay.
So this would be a day move or an information move. I think this is an information move.
Great.
So you will be rolling from one of your abilities. And I think in this case, it's probably going to be with presence.
Fantastic. That's one of the ones I have a 0 in. All right. I rolled a 9.
Very good. She tells you, she says, I went to deliver the order and I heard something while I was there. I would swear it was as though someone had fallen down the stairs, the grand stairway. I looked. There was no one. And the lady of the house, when I said, "Did you hear that?" she swore she did not. But Mr. Levy, when I looked at her face, all the blood had drained. She had heard it, Mr. Levy. She had heard it.
This is Mrs. Beale.
Yes, Mrs. Beale. You have heard the name.
Sure. Everyone knows about the Beals who live at 18 St. James Street.
Mr. Beale is very loose with his money, but very much watches it.
I appreciate your sharing this with me. I think maybe I will settle up my tab now.
Well, thank you, Mr. Levy. And I think we'll shift off of that. You have picked up a clue. The sound of falling down the stairway, but when looked, there's no one there. The complication on this is, because it was a 7 to 9, is apparently the people living there, at least Mrs. Bill, is trying desperately to pretend it's not happening. We're going to shift over and Danny, what type of scene would you like to set up?
Let's see. I think that probably as part of my kind of training regimen, that Martina has a pattern of walking around the blocks around the house, and talking to people and just seeing what's out there and kind of checking in the area, sort of not necessarily spying on things, but kind of just keeping an eye on the turf around the house for safety reasons.
Okay.
So,
so you're
maybe
doing your walk?
I would go and take my little perambulations
Okay.
and off down the sidewalk.
You staying in your neighborhood? St. James isn't far. Are you walking over to look there, or just staying around the house?
If it's close enough, I'll walk over. I usually spend probably an hour or so walking. So if it's close by, I would say that would be something that's reasonable just to swing by.
All right. As you are walking down the sidewalk near number 18, you see a boy. He's wearing a sailor suit type of outfit, got the little Donald Duck look to it. And he's got 2 other children with him. And you could see that they're busily chatting with each other. And one of the little kids goes, I don't know, Peter, that sounds scary. I don't. And one, apparently Peter in his sailor suit, says, well, if you're bloody scared, then just say you're bloody scared. But for 1 pence, I'll show you the death room. Would you like to go? Are you going to just kind of walk by them? Do you try to speak to them? Do you want to get a closer look at the house?
I'm going to take kind of a wild guess, and looking at Peter's outfit, does it seem to me, I guess this would be like an investigation thing, that he's maybe dressed like one of the servants' children, or more upper classly?
He's
Like,
definitely
how
upper
much
class.
How quality is this outfit?
It's quality. This is upper class, little boy.
I gotcha. Young Master Beale.
He looks up. Yes, ma'am.
A death room, you say?
Oh, bloody hell, yes. You mean you haven't heard? Our maid Jenny, she's dead.
My
Died
goodness.
right here in the house because of the ghost. And the other kids are like, oh. And in fact, I think the one that had said they were scared, you kind of see him go, kind of grab himself and go running down the street. He may have scared himself so much he wet himself.
Oh dear. A ghost, you say?
Yes, ma'am. For 1 pence, I'll show you the room.
What does your mother know about this?
And you could see his face start to drop a little. I can have friends over.
About this. I won't give you 1 pence, but I won't tell your mother.
That's bleeding blackmail, ma'am.
Well, if you're going to play the game.
Then let's have you make a roll here. Seems like we're doing I think this will be an information. I think this is where we're going to stick with that. And I think that once again, we're probably looking at going with your, oops, pull it over. I've got to remember all these stats now. Going with your presence.
Okay, so that's a 0, so it's a straight one, and it is 2d6, correct?
That is correct.
And we'll just add together. 4 and 4 is 8.
All right.
And we have a dice roller, don't we? Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. He's kind of reluctant, but he goes, all right, just don't tell mother. And he takes you through the garden gate, around the outside of the house, to where the entrance is. You guess to the kitchens, and it's the basement, but you could see where like there's smoke coming out of the like a side chimney, and you could kind of get the impression that this would be where the kitchens are. And as he opens up the door, looks in to see if anybody's there, he once again kind of puts his fingers to his lips, and as you enter into the hall, you can see off to the left is indeed where the pantry and the kitchen is. But off to the right, there's a hallway leading to a couple of doors. And he walks down there, and opening one of them, you see is a very small servant's quarter room. It's got a bed, a little table, and a chair, and a little desk. But as you enter, for a moment, you would swear you see flames licking up the walls as he's kind of opened the door and stepped back as he goes, this was her room where she died. The ghost. But as you're looking in, it is just an inferno of flames. And that's when you hear, hey now, Peter, what are you doing? Your mother, who are you, ma'am? And as you look back, you see a stout woman with an apron. And when you kind of look to her and look back at the room, it's perfectly normal again. The flames are gone. Hey now, what you doing here?
Reminding young Master Beale that he needs to be careful about who invites into the house.
Oh. Master Peter, your mother will tan you if she knew. Ma'am, I'm afraid that I'm going to have to ask you to leave now. It's just not proper.
Of course. If you would, I'll let you keep a card.
Oh, of course. The families, we've had tragedy in the house. They're generally not seeing folks, but I will pass this along to the mistress.
Of course, that's what the young master said. I did promise him that I wouldn't tell his mother as long as he behaved himself in the future.
You see her kind of look down. He's all hang-dogged. She says, well, maybe if someone will help me tidy up the dishes, I can make the same deal. You see him kind of scuff his foot as he goes, oh, jeez. And he scoots in as she kind of swipes him on the hiney with a wooden spoon. And she walks you to the door. He's a bit of a wild one, but I'm sure he's good in his heart.
A death in the family will make anyone act out, I'm sure.
It was a tragedy, ma'am. She was quite a young girl, only 20.
My goodness. Do you know what happened?
No. We can try here something. I think we're going to do a day move. Just to get the roll on the table real quick.
All right.
So I think with this, we're going to roll composure.
Okay. And the day move is 3 and better of the 2, right?
No. Day move is just a regular. It's just not the information move. It's our catch-all. So it's still 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And not as good, just 5.
Ooh, all righty. She kind of says, my name's Mrs. Thicket. Well, I'm not sure. She probably brought a sickness in. You know, it was sudden, but that sort of thing happens. And ma'am, as I say, the family really doesn't need visitors right now.
No, of course. I completely understand.
And she has by now hustled you out the door and is walking towards the gate. And as she moves back in, you see her take the card, kind of slide it into her apron. You might get the impression she's not going to pass that off.
It's okay. She has it herself.
That's off of having made we had a fail there. Right. So that's the consequence, just to give the consequence that goes on here. A day move, again, rarely is going to be dangerous with a fail. Right. It can be, but rarely.
That is also a situation where, Danny, if you wanted to push on it, you have the various masks from your playbook or the special mask from the threat if you wanted to push it up a category.
Right. May not be the big moment to do it, but Patrick is absolutely right. It is a thing I should have reminded you that those are available.
Okay.
All right.
I think I will not harass the cook any further.
All right. As you continue your constitution, we switch Samuels. What sort of scene would you like to set up, Bobby? It could be with someone, or it could be investigating. Your choice.
Am I muted still?
Nope, you're good.
Oh, it actually worked the first time.
Having done a character scene first there in the bar, I think I'd like to do a investigative day move. Kind of.
Okay.
As Samuels is stepping out to the houses in the neighborhood along that road to knocking on the door and introducing himself as a gentleman checking for gas leaks in the wake of the unfortunate death there.
Oh.
He's concerned that she might have had issues with the gas lamps.
All right. So you knock on number 18.
Not that house, the neighboring houses.
Oh, okay.
Samuels is looking for, what the people around know about this house and its history.
Absolutely. So I think you knock on one of these houses and a lady opens the door. She has hair with a few streaks of gray, but you'll notice that her corset might even be a little too tight to give her that hourglass figure, though. She might even have been watching you come up the street, because she opens the door after the very first rap on it. And she says, hello, can I help you?
I beg your pardon, Mum. I hate to interrupt your day, but I've been sent out just to check over the area. I'm sure you heard about the unfortunate circumstances up the street.
Oh, I mean, it's certainly no business of mine what goes on in their household, but what sort of neighbor would I be? What sort of community member would I be if I didn't stay abreast of what's going on around here? I assume you mean the unfortunate next door.
Yes, indeed, Mum. And it's actually the situation in your own house that I'm concerned about, or that I'm here about today. I'm checking in from the gas company to make sure there's no issues. One of the things they're concerned about is a young lady may have, well, gotten an old fourth, you know.
Really? Gas leak?
Hmm.
You could see in her face that she hadn't thought of that. Oh, well, my goodness. Yes, please come in. Check my fixtures. And
Mama,
she turns around and sort of wiggles a little bit as she walks. What was your name, sir?
Edgar's.
Well, it's very nice to have such a helpful gentleman come around to check on me. I am a widow, you know.
It's a shame to have a woman like yourself left all alone in the world.
Well, I make do. I miss Edgar, of course, but the last 10 years have dulled my pain. And she kind of smiles at you with a somewhat inviting smile.
This is the sort of thing I'm sure the gentleman would have done for the two of you were he still around, but in his absence, I'll see what I can do now.
And she'll take you to show. She has a few, glass. Her lights in the rooms are gas, and she has a very tidy, rather attractive, little 2-story brownstone here. You will see that a maid has come out, but she shooed her away. Are you going to try and get a little info out of her?
Yeah, he'll go through, at least given the strong appearance of checking the gas lamps and such through the house and talking with her about it, and flirting back with her in a one step back. So he's absolutely flirting, but he's not making steps towards doing anything with it.
I gotcha.
So that would derail things a little bit.
Oh,
But
right.
he's what he's going to do is once he's checked through things, he's going to begin chatting with her about, has she smelled any, seen any signs of gas leaking from them? Have there been any issues? And work it up into talking about, have there been any issues or oddities, things that have happened, problems with the lights, since there haven't been any other deaths like this in the area, they're hoping that it was just happenstance. But he's fishing both for unexplained oddities and giving her the opportunity to go, oh, well, there was that death, insert time and place.
Right. She will, no, I haven't noticed it, that she will have let you know that her name is Mrs. Head, Constance Head. Why don't we roll that information move to see what you do? I'm going to give you advantage because you have come to speak to the neighborhood gossip, Mrs. Constance Head.
All right.
So you're rolling 3, taking the highest, and I believe you have a flat roll.
Yeah. So yeah, that'd be like a presence kind of thing, I'm assuming.
Yeah, presence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be a flat roll. So
Looks like a 10. Very good. So with a 10, you're going to at a hit, you find a clue. Keeper will tell you what it is. And you don't have any complications coming off of it. She will say, yes, it was very unfortunate, that young lady. And, you know, it's not the first time that house has known tragedy.
No.
It's true. Why? The family before moved out rather quickly after taking the home. Said there were noises, but it wasn't even 10 years ago that the lady of the house died in a similar way, mysterious, as it were. And her eyes, the same milky quality.
Did no one think to say nothing about this?
Well, 10 years is a long time, and the police don't want to hear that sort of thing. But, sir, I'll tell you this. When I was a wee girl, it happened then as well. I heard rumors of it. A man found dead there.
It's folks like you with a real memory of the city.
Oh. Well, I try to be the helpful neighbor I can be.
No one has any sense of community anymore.
Oh.
Nobody knows what's going on with the folks around them.
I blame it on people coming in from the country. Oh.
They're not from here. They don't have that sense of attachment.
You can smell the dirt and see it under their fingernails.
They don't keep up the houses properly either.
And that is the real tragedy. I mean, and of course, the girl's death. You get a clue there that there have been multiple deaths over the decades in this house.
So young girl, older woman, and man.
That is correct. And she's placed it, this one about 8-9 years ago, and one that she says when she was a wee lass, you gotta figure 30 years ago, probably. Maybe 40.
So unless she's missed one here, we're not running on a clockwork.
That is correct.
All right.
Unless she's missed one. But there's our clue. And I think as you head out the door, she says, oh, and please feel free to come and check my fixtures anytime. And the door closes behind you. And our session also is going to come to a close. I believe I'm going to end with just one little thing. As you're walking back, Martina, to the house, you see striding along a gentleman in his full naval outfit, young man, and he's carrying a load full of books and papers. And as he comes by, he sort of stumbles kind of into you. He wasn't paying attention and he drops. Oh, ma'am, I'm very sorry. Oh, terribly sorry. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh,
Goodness, let me help you.
thank you. I would hate to be late. I'm going to see the Vice Admiral Flag.
I see. Sounds very important. Mustn't keep you.
He's a hero, ma'am, a true hero. And he collects his things, and you see him trundle on down the street to one of the really more flashy looking houses here in Belgrave Square as he moves up and rings the bell.
How far into tacky territory is flashy?
Not flash or not tacky, but
Really well fitted out.
but expensive looking. All right, we're going to end there. questions real quick on you would have had a chance on your hunter sheet for some questions. And I don't know if I pushed us towards filling out our optional questions. Oops, I moved our thing over too. There we go. But we could certainly look.
We don't actually check those until dawn comes around.
Oh, that's
so
right. Yeah.
We have a whole like night phase to try and hit those questions. So.
That's right. So what we'll want to do is you'll notice Dawn questions on your character sheet. It's right below your picture. You have choices for the first three are always there. Did your hunters answer a question? Did the hunters resolve a threat? Did you experience an echo in the night? And then you have the choice of two others. There's a drop down. So now, somewhere between now and next week, pick out the choices there that you would like. And as we go along, if you happen to hit one of those questions, go ahead and you can tick it to remind yourself. So it might be worth kind of thinking over what you did this session. If you happen to get one of those, tick it, and we will come back and around in the dawn session, and you could get XP off of those.
And for that, I am going to go ahead and put a tick next to, did you encourage a fellow hunter to let loose for a change, as I got Martina to go out drinking with me and try the whiskey.
Mm-hmm. And you got real quiet there, Patrick.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, for getting Martina to go out and try the whiskey with me, I'm going to mark getting a fellow hunter to let loose.
Awesome. And Dan, thank you very much for keeping notes. I will look through them, folks. It is such a blessing to have Dan do that. And so let's do, if folks don't mind, real quick, a little stars and wishes to kind of debrief down what stars and wishes are. Stars are things you saw that you enjoyed, things that you like about other people's characters or something in the story going on. Wishes are things you're kind of wanting to see, say, next session or going forward, stuff you'd like to engage with. And Patrick, why don't we start with you? We'll just go down Character Keeper for the first time.
I mean, I'm super excited to be playing the Between again. It's been a long time since I got to play this game, and it was in a very different form at that point. So I've never really played this version of the game. I love our characters. I think they're great, and I love everybody's pictures. Bobby, I like going for the factotum pairing there. I think it'll be interesting to play that out and gives, you know, it we're starting off already with the juxtaposition of the rough versus the fancy, and like your character there to give away the lie of the like simple farm boy who's a soldier out in the West and that sort of thing. So I think that's cool. Dan, the Mother is an amazing playbook. I love bringing a supernatural flair to it, and I'm super excited to see what wonderful creations you come up with. Also, I'll echo Tyler that like Night Work is a great move for that class, and I think it was a great choice to start off with because it gets you all sorts of interesting scenes. And Danny, I haven't played with you in a long time, and it's great to have you here. Those wonderful. You ran straight for a playbook that I looked at, and I was like, I don't know if I would want to start off with that. Legacy is one of the ones that's like brand new. I've never seen it in playtest. I've never seen any version of it. So I'm excited to see that. And I referred to it earlier, but just all the kudos on the picture. I love that picture. She's so fancy, and I cannot wait to see how she handles herself, how she reacts in a hunt, in a tense night situation, and like where the fancy holds up and where the hunter's training comes in. I'm excited to see that. Wishes, don't know if I have anything specific yet. I want to get to some investigating next time. And then I want to see something sort of crazy happen in the nighttime because we're going around and asking very rational questions about, well, someone says they saw a ghost and whatever, but like I want to get into the bloody dark of it and see some scary stuff.
Yeah. And by the way, Danny, I don't think for sure did I tell you that burning room, that was a clue. So at this point, I believe we have 3 clues.
I marked that one down, so we should have all 3 marked down.
Good. All right, Bobby, any stars or wishes?
Danny and Patrick, I liked the immediate launch into the Baron Munchausen back and forth.
So many
both
lies.
Both because it's a fun dynamic to get things rolling and because it gives a lovely opportunity for me to just be settled in behind Travis's shoulder going, no, no, also no. Okay, yes, but to be fair, it was a dog. And I like how the playbooks are, by their nature, there's a degree of they are what they are. A lot of the storyishness to them is already built in. That's how this works. That said, particularly with the pictures, I'm already starting to get a feel for where everybody is taking their particular version of this. I have become very enamored with images in general for characters, for places and such, to give a bit more feel to things. I like what everybody's put together there. Tyler, I appreciate, despite my laughing commentary there, the fact that you've got accents for each of the different English characters here. You've got your array of classes already established here.
Any wishes?
Need some BAM. If not a true action scene, definitely some holy shit.
Agreed.
We're in the daytime right now, getting going, and that's as it should be. But we definitely need, when night falls, we need to get some dropped in the ship.
Absolutely. I hear you. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Dan, any stars or wishes?
Sure. First, thanks, guys, for inviting me to your table. It's really nice to play with you in an off-gauntlet game. And Danny, it's nice to meet you and play with someone new. And Bobby, it's nice to play with you, as I've played with your kid for so long. I really liked kind of, I could really picture all of these different locales that we set up. And I think I really appreciated Patrick, you setting up the bar, that pub scene. And even in this posh neighborhood, there's still these, what we would consider ancient pubs that have been around for centuries, right? And so I really loved that. Danny was really getting a walking on the street in Mary Poppins vibe from you, kind of wandering around the neighborhood, and I really with those kids, and I really like that. And Bobby, I appreciated you just sort of saying, you know what, I'm just going to knock on some random doors, just see what happens. Tyler, it's been great to play with you as a GM. It's the first time me watching you GM, and it's been an absolute pleasure. So thanks for that. We are just getting going, so it's almost hard for me to have any wishes Um, so I'm gonna hold off on wishes for now. I kind of want to see where things go.
Okie dokie. Thank you very much. And Danny, any stars or wishes?
I'm gonna do my wish first. I want to see more about that room being on fire because that's gonna be like gory and scary and something big, and I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'm looking forward to it. That's a something. I can just feel it.
Awesome.
Excited for that. I'm so happy I get to play a game again. Oh my god. Forever.
I'm so
seriously,
happy you're playing.
Seriously, forever. And this is I love the feel of this game, the way it's laid out. So it's very structured, but at the same time it allows for, it's like a very nice skeleton that you can build a really nice set of personal things on top of, which is really nice. I've seen a lot of times where everything is so fleshed out you don't feel like you're really contributing much, and I've also seen the alternative where you don't have enough of a skeleton to really give any kind of form to the things that you come up with, and this really seems like it's going to be a really good balance between the two. So I'm excited by that. Patrick, I love your accent. It's killing me. I'm trying to not copy it, but it's going to be difficult. And just the thing between you and Bobby where you're like so folksy and homey, and he's just sitting behind you with his pinky up in the air being like, yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. Whatever you say, sir. Like, it's a very American kind of thing, and I like that. That's the way it started out right from the beginning. Is that just seems very American to try to like deny that you've got any sort of like class or privilege or anything. So
the fact that super folksy there is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's just a really solid character beat to just jump right in from the beginning and be like, all right, this is where we're going with this.
Thank you, because I'm constantly trying not to laugh at the accent. Like, so I'm trying to make it normal and go with. I like the feedback that it works. So thank you.
Good, it's good. Dan, I'm looking forward to actually playing with somebody that I've not been friends with for like half my life. So that's going to be really exciting. I hope that you become a friend, and I really like your choices for investigating and dealing with Tyler as the apothecary lady. So I'm looking forward to a hopefully long and delightful gaming session, learning more about you and how you game. And Tyler, you're like the best GM ever. Like, I don't know, just like you're welcoming and open and accommodating, and you just like you work so hard at it that it seems natural, which I think maybe sometimes we take advantage of that and think that it is natural, but I get the impression that you put a lot of thought and effort into it, and that's really amazing that you put so much of yourself into these games, and I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much. And I am so delighted we're playing. I'm so glad to have you back with me playing, Danny. And Dan, I'm so glad to have you here with us. You're a wonderful person, and they're all wonderful people. So wonderful people should play together. Thank you all for being here and doing this. We will be back again next week. And since we won't have all that character building stuff, we'll get into lots of action. It's going to be tons of fun. So I'm going to end the broadcast.